Good afternoon. How are you today? What I'd like to do is have you take a look over to my left, which would be your right. What we're doing is I want you to see the transformation of our old system, our old building, our old name. We're going to transfer into Hope Memorial Humane Society. You'll see our van pulling up, Cocheco Valley Humane Society. We're going to have a couple of our animals pop out. We just want to signify the transformation of our into our new building.
Out the way. Out the way. Oh my God, she's wearing a dress.
Great.
Okay. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Obi Barker. I'm the executive director of Hope Memorial Humane Society. Over a year ago, CVHS broke ground on a new facility. I was fortunate enough to be present that day, and I was overwhelmed by the amount of people that turned out just for a groundbreaking. It just shows the support that this agency has. Shortly after, I was given the distinguished honor of becoming the executive director. I had gone into retirement, and after about 4 or 5 months, decided that retirement was overrated. I needed to do something. I'm very antsy. I can't stay still. Shortly after I was hired, I attended my first building committee meeting. It was after that meeting that I called President Rachel, and I told her, I said, you know, the board didn't realize when they hired me, they got a 2-for-1 deal. I spent 40 years as an executive director of two nonprofits. In that time, I oversaw the construction of 2 new building projects. So I had the ability, I knew what was going on, and I felt that it was nice that I would relieve the pressure of the board and I would take over and oversee the operations of the building construction. I'm honored that they allowed me to be part of such an impactful agency. It gives me great pleasure, along with our board, our staff, and volunteers, to showcase to you this afternoon our new facility. Additionally, we get the opportunity to say thank you to you, our supporters, our benefactors, our volunteers. It's a very big afternoon for us. Like I said, I've only been here less than a year, but I know how important it is to the people that are around today. This is a project that has been in the making for a number of years. I'm given the opportunity to stand before you and tell of the agency's aspirations to improve the quality of life of the animals entrusted to us. Having a caring staff, remarkable volunteers, I've never in my 40 years of being involved with nonprofits have I ever seen a volunteer base that this agency has. There's nothing that matches this volunteer base. The initiatives that they take, that our board takes, it's just remarkable what is happening. There's an old adage, challenges are what make life interesting, and overcoming them is what makes life meaningful. And that's never so true than with this agency. As we gather here today, I'd like to specifically recognize some individuals and businesses that have truly left an imprint on our organization, that believe in extending their hand and goodwill to our agency. First of all, I have to begin with Lyman Pope and the Pope family. They're represented today by his daughter and granddaughters. The Ronald Newell estate, the Maxine Lacey estate, Federal Savings Bank, C&J Bus Lines, Kennebunk Savings Bank, Petco Foundation, excuse me, Eric Lothar and Janice Page, Pam Bishop of Federal Savings, and thousands of others, you people out here in the crowd that have made donations, either monetarily or in kind. Our contractor, NCM Management, Chuck Moretti, Steve Hay from Silverworks, Brian Calhoun, our IT person, Liberty Electric, Sundance Sign, Mark from Atlantico, Central Fencing, Wadeland. It is amazing how many people stepped up and really put their foot forward for us. But besides, all those names, there were a couple people that were very instrumental in getting this done. And that was Karen Zaramba, who was on the board at the time. She was the president. She was the driving force behind this. Karen is just a remarkable person. I've got to meet her a couple of times, and it was her ambition, her energy that got this thing moving forward. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't thank George McLaren and the group of commissioners from the county that gave us the land. It is a total community effort that made this happen today, and I thank you all for attending. And it gives me great pleasure right now to introduce to you our president of our board of directors, Cindy Edwards. Cindy.
Good afternoon. You may hear a few repeats of names and thank yous today, but that's because we have so much gratitude to so many people. Good afternoon. I'm Cindy Edwards, the current president of the board of directors. It's my honor to welcome you here to the ribbon cutting of Pope Memorial Humane Society, Cocheco Valley. Gotta say, that's a pretty awesome sign we have up here. A little later, you will hear the significance of the name change, and I know that Obi already alluded to that, and about the amazing philanthropist, Lyman Pope. Unfortunately, Mr. Pope isn't able to be here with us today, but we're very blessed to have his family here, and you'll be hearing from them. During our speeches, you'll hear specifics about our fundraising and how we made this dream come true. You will also hear about the history of Pope Memorial, formerly known as Cocheco Valley Humane Society. So I want to take my time to thank individuals. I first want to thank Obi Barker, our executive director, for his introduction and his tireless and relentless work to make sure that our dream of this new facility came together. He is our day-to-day taskmaster, cheerleader, mentor to our staff, ambassador to our community, and the chief negotiator to be sure we get the best deals on everything we do. Obi, we appreciate your leadership, and we know that behind every great leader are great people. We have some of those great people up here behind us, and we have many of them in the audience. We are blessed to have an amazing staff at Pope Memorial. I want to thank Obi and every single person up here that raises money, that does our humane education, that does the day-to-day work at the shelter, and of course those that do the hands-on day-to-day work with our animals. It's those people that are so important because they make sure that we fulfill our mission, which is a humane place for animals to stop before they go on to their forever home. I want to recognize the contingency, as Obi mentioned, of volunteers. It's just amazing. We're so very blessed to have them. As I look out into the crowd, I can see several right now. They're here day in, day out, not just on beautiful days like this. They're here when it's pouring, when the snow is up to our knees. Today, our volunteer group is actually represented behind me by two volunteers that almost everyone knows, Joe Summers and Pam Thompson. To my fellow board members and those that have served this board for years, years before us and many to come, thank you. Thank you for your time, your expertise, your passion, and your relentless efforts to make sure that we provide humane treatments to the animals throughout Stratford County and southern Maine. The county, Stratford County, where do you begin? From day one, back in 1984, the dream to create an organization that advocated for the humane care of animals here in Stratford County became a reality. From day one, the county has advocated for, volunteered resources, and supported our efforts. As you entered today, you saw some of our Stratford County deputies helping with parking. That is one of hundreds of things that the county does for us. Thank you to Sheriff Dave Dubois for his support and the support of your staff. Thank you to Stratford County Administrator Ray Bauer, who is always there to answer that call when we need just a little extra help. Thank you to the Stratford County Commissioners. Without you, we would not be standing on this beautiful land today. Regardless of the members of the commission through the years, there has always been complete support, and we thank you for that. So thank you to Commissioner Watson and Commissioner Rollo for your support. I must now take a moment, though, to thank George McGlaris. Sir, without your dream, your vision, so many decades ago, and your courage to lead, we would not be here today. Without you, we would not have been able to help the thousands and thousands of innocent souls that have passed through the doors and moved on to their forever homes. I know that you will be speaking a little later, but please know that we are forever grateful to you. And yes, you. Thank you to every single person who has contributed to the success of this agency and organization. From walking a dog, cleaning a kitty cage, hosting or supporting an event, financially supporting us, from the biggest contributions to the absolute smallest, every dollar counted. Thank you to everyone who stood by us when times were tough for this organization. As you know, we do not receive federal or state funds, and therefore we count on the generosity of this community, and you have never let us down, and I thank you. Thank you for those who have so fiercely advocated for our shelter and the humane treatment of animals throughout our state. We cannot thank you enough for speaking on behalf of those without a voice. Finally, I want to leave you with a quote that I really like and I think is appropriate for today. It's a quote by Harriet Tubman. Every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world. So thank you all for being dreamers, and for having a dream, and for turning that into reality and changing the world for the animals of Stratford County. Now, my distinct pleasure to actually introduce Karen Zaramba. Obi spoke of her a second ago. I had the honor of serving on the board with her for quite a period of time, and he didn't have time to give you all of the accolades that are necessary to tell you the heart and soul that she has put into helping us make this a reality. Karen Zaramba.
Obie and Cindy are very kind, but and it's very humbling to be standing here after all these years. So I had to write it down, so in case I get emotional. But this took a village, a really big village, and it's all of you, all of them, past and present. It's humbling to see so many familiar faces in the crowd, past and current board members, staff, community members, volunteers. You all played a part in this process. Cindy and Obie asked me to talk about the capital campaign a little bit, and I'll try and keep it pretty brief. But I also, it's Cindy, and Obie thanked all of you. I also want to just give a brief round of applause for Cindy and her tremendous efforts to lead this project to fruition. So I had to go back to my notes and kind of look and say, when did we actually kick off the capital campaign? Because when I joined the board in 2009, it seemed like we were always in this process of trying to build this new facility. But there were a couple very defining moments in the capital campaign that I just wanted to highlight. And Obi alluded to them, and it was in the fall of 2013 when CVHS, at the time as we were known, was notified that two amazing community members had requested funds to CVHS from their estates, and that they were Edward Newell and Maxine Lacey. And those gifts were transformative for this organization. That finally gave us the foundation that we needed to launch into a full-fledged capital campaign. And so we launched the campaign in early 2014. My co-chair, Kelly Glennon, and honorary chair, Phil Rinaldi, who I'm sure many of you know, both served on the board and past presidents. We were joined by community members, volunteers, staff, board members, who all of them made it their passion and their mission to get this project done. And when I go back and I look through all the notes and the emails, and I'm glad Peter Stewart, the architect, and his wife are here today, because I really don't want to know how many boxes Peter has in his office that have a label with our name on them. But thank you, Peter, for all that you've done to make this happen. Many hours of his time. The launch and the subsequent community outpouring was amazing. Federal Savings Bank, which is now First Seacoast Bank, and C&J immediately stepped up to kick off the campaign. But they were quickly followed by the other members that Obi highlighted, Kennebunk Savings Bank, Petco, the wonderful team at Haunted Overload, and Eric and Janice, as Obi mentioned, who, I don't know if anyone knows, but they donated their winnings from winning the best haunt in America. So we were blessed with their generosity. But that support was the wind in our sails that we needed to secure the lease and move forward with the design. But we always had this challenge. It was a moving target, because as we were going through this process, you know, construction changes, and anyone that's built a project knows that it can be a moving target. So the next really defining moment for the organization was when we received a call from Mr. Pope, and he reached out to the board. And if you don't know anything about Mr. Pope, well, hopefully you'll know a lot more by the end of today. But he is passionate about animals, their care, but most importantly, their environment. And he has amazingly supported 3 other shelters besides CVHS in this community. The Pope Memorial SPCA in Concord, New Hampshire, the Pope Memorial of Knox County in Rockland, Maine, and the Pope Memorial Frontier Animal Shelter in Orleans, Vermont. So his multi-million-dollar support of these organizations, including now this organization, has single-handedly changed animal welfare in New England and impacted thousands and thousands of animals and their surrounding communities. So I can't fully articulate the impact of his support to this organization or the animal welfare community at large. And as we've mentioned, several family members are here to say some words on his behalf. And so at this point, I'd like to introduce 2 of his granddaughters, Amanda and Carolyn.
Hi, I'm Amanda, and I'm Lyman Pope's eldest granddaughter. Lyman could not be here today. He celebrated recently his 90th birthday with his family and his dog. Throughout my entire life, I have seen him with a German Shepherd by his side. He has always been very passionate about animals and their care, and to echo what Karen said, their environment that they live in. And they cannot speak for themselves, and he was hoping to provide for them. Lyman, I spoke to him this morning, and he said that he wanted to pass along to everyone here, firstly, thanks to Karen for all of her fundraising efforts. He thinks she is just wonderful and says wonderful things about her. And also to all the staff here and the volunteers in this community that made this possible. So thank you from Lyman to everybody that's here today.
Hi, my name is Caroline. I'm also Lyman's granddaughter. He has a big family. I'm so proud to be a Pope. I recently got married and my last name has changed, and that's been such a transition for me because I feel like I'm still a Pope through and through. My grandfather and I are from very different generations, very different time periods, but one of the things that I think he instilled in me at a young age is a passion for animals. I'm 27 years old and I have to pet a dog if I see it, and I have my own dog at home. He's extraordinary. He has no filter. He is one of the most smartest gentlemen that I've ever met. And he's been very strong through the loss of my Nana in 2018. And I think it's so cool and admirable that he chose to give away his money at this time in his life and not hold on to it, not make any other plans, but rather just give it where it needs it most. I'm so proud to be a New Englander. I thought about this today. We take care of our animals up here so well. We love our animals. They're our kids. You have kids and you have dog kids and you have cat kids, and we're making an impact throughout the U.S. too, not only in our communities by being so good with our volunteer time and our monetary donations. And it takes big donations and it takes small donations. I used to volunteer at this animal shelter several years ago, long before my grandfather chose to get involved. And it's all the volunteer work and it's all the staff that has continued to stay throughout these years doing this. So Lyman has a big part, but also a small part, because it takes all those other little things, and those are very, very important. So thank you for letting us speak on his behalf. And if he were here, he probably wouldn't have said anything. He is not a social person. So I'm kind of glad we were able to say something and hopefully make him proud. So thank you very much.
Thank you both very much. I assure you, you've made him proud. And now I would like to introduce Commissioner George McGlaris, who will give us a little bit of history.
Thank you all very much for coming out this afternoon. On behalf of my colleagues, Commissioner Bob Watson, Commissioner Deanna Rollo, and the chairman of our county delegation, Peter Schmidt, who's sat up here in the front, I want to take a minute, if I may, and talk for a few minutes about the last 35 years, and do so in about 3 minutes, if I can. You know, over the course of time, we've had many boards of commissioners, we've had many state representatives and delegation members here at the county. And not once did we ever hear during that time that there was a lack of support for the idea of this facility. You know, folks, I heard so many nice things about me, I thought I was at my own funeral. The most important thing that I want to leave with you is that change in life is inevitable. And, you know, if you think back many years ago, certainly the folks that have been around a little longer, not the young folks so much, but when the county farm was called the poor farm, right? And the last place you wanted to be was at the poor farm. And when I first got elected here in the 1970s, that's what it was called. It was called the poor farm. And there were many of us at the time that wanted to change that stigma. And over the course of time, that's what's happened. We no longer call it the poor farm. We have Riverside Rest Home, and we have the Hyder House across the way that gives excellent care, one of the finest healthcare institutions in New England. It's no longer the poor farm. And it's such a historical event today for Stratford County, because when you think about the humble beginnings of the Humane Society, when prior to the Humane Society, animals weren't treated very well. And so throughout the course of time, many of us got together of like mind and decided we needed to do something about that many years ago. And throughout the decades, it's been my privilege to work with so many volunteers, so many boards of directors, a number of executive directors over the course of time. But mostly the folks that are in Stratford County with their generosity towards this dream. So when they mentioned to me through the final push over the top with the generosity of Lyman Pope, they had discussed with me about the fact that they wanted to change the name of Cocheco Valley to the Pope Memorial Humane Society. And for a few minutes, it bothered me for a few minutes. But like so many other things in history, I thought about the poor farm, how we don't refer to the poor farm. We don't refer to the county as the poor farm. And Cocheco Valley, when it first started out, had humble beginnings. And as time has gone on, history will prove that those humble beginnings created what you have here today. So it's okay to change the name. Matter of fact, I embrace the name change because I think it's a good thing. Number one, it moves us into the next generation. And with that said, I just want to thank everybody who I've worked with over the years to make this happen. They've done a wonderful job here, the present group. But that's not to say that the people before them didn't do a wonderful job as well. They were products of their time. So with that said, thank you so much for coming out and listening to me.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. And now I would like to call Elise up to speak on behalf of Senator Maggie Hassan.
Good afternoon. My name is Elise Britton. I'm the Director of Constituent Services for Senator Hassan. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here today, but she asked me to read this letter on her behalf. Dear friends, I regret that I cannot be with you today, but welcome to the Pope Memorial Humane Society Open House. For more than 35 years, the Pope Memorial Humane Society has done important work raising awareness about animal welfare, engaging the public, and providing resources to save the lives of vulnerable animals. Animals provide support, companionship, and assistance to many Granite Staters, and with this new space, you will further your mission of caring for abandoned and homeless pets. Thank you to Pope Memorial Humane Society for working to ensure that all animals are treated humanely and helping them find loving homes. I particularly want to recognize Lyman Pope Jr. for his support of shelters across New England and for making a real difference in the lives of animals. I look forward to working with everyone here today to strengthen our communities and our state. With every good wish, Margaret Wood Hassan, United States Senator.
Thank you very much, and thank you to the Senator. So that wraps up our speeches for today. We will be doing our ribbon cutting immediately now, so if you will just bear with us while we do that, we're going to be doing 2 ribbon cuttings, one with the board and everyone that we have chosen, and one with the Chamber of Commerce. So again, thank you all. Once we're finished with that, please feel free to come on in. We're hoping everyone will do tours, have a snack, and something cold to drink. And I do just want to tell you that we do have our small animals here, and we do have cats here. We do not have all of our dogs here. They will not be moved here until after this event. It's too stressful for them to be here with this many people moving through the facility. So please understand that, and thank you again so much, and thank you for being here.
Leahy in Burlington. He spent a month there and
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think a Democrat would start a party.